Hello there. It is Pi Day today. That's the 14th of March, 3.14 pi, of course. And this is episode 28 of the VictorPrep Vocab podcast. Let's start by quickly going over the words from episode 27. Those were exacerbate. That means to increase the severity, bitterness, or violence of something, to make something worse, to make an illness worse, or to make someone's feelings worse. Pungent, that is a sharp, biting smell, usually a bad smell or a bad taste. It could also mean a remark or comment that's mean or nasty or acidic. Upbraid means to find fault with something, to rebuke someone, to scold or chastise someone. And the final word was surly. That means rude or bad-tempered, maybe grouchy as well. Now let's move on to the new words. Our first new word is whimsical. That is spelled W-H-I-M, whim, S-I-C-C-A-L, so whimsical. Whimsical means given to whimsy or fanciful notions. So, given to whimsy, what does that mean? What does whimsy mean? Well, to be whimsy means to be prone to playfully quaint or fanciful behavior. So, what does that mean? Well, often you might know someone, especially when you were younger, as a child, who had extremely powerful imagination and were very playful. Perhaps they would imagine that their pets were people and they could speak to them and were very kind of playful and imaginative. Whimsical can also mean someone who's unpredictable, also known as being capricious. That means changing your mind at the slightest notice. So someone who's whimsical is imaginative or playful and amusing. Often you don't know what they're going to do next. They'll always be coming up with some fanciful notion or fanciful ideas, which are not necessarily realistic. Some synonyms of whimsical are fanciful, playful, mischievous, quaint, curious, and fantastical. Our second word is fetid. Fetid is spelled F-E-T, I-D-id, fetid. If you're British or English, fetid will be spelled for you F-O-E-T-I-D, fetid. Same pronunciation. Fetid means something similar to pungent from last time. It means an extremely offensive odor, stinking, foul, malodorous, or acrid. Fetid is almost always used describing a smell. It could be used for a taste, I suppose. That was a fetid burger. But generally speaking, it's always used for smells. So, yes, again, some synonyms. Smelly, foul-smelling, reeking, acrid, rank, foul, noxious. What's great about this word is it sounds a bit like it means. Fetid. It doesn't sound like a positive word. It sounds like a negative word. It sounds bad. You can describe something as, oh, that's so fetid. Our next word is pristine. Pristine. Almost the opposite of fetid, really. Pristine is spelled P-R-I-S, T-I-N-E, teen, pristine. It's an adjective, and pristine really means having its original form, or its original beauty, or original purity. It means almost unchanged, undirtied, unsullied. it's often used to mean almost perfect. It's pristine. So if you buy a vase, and it's a very pretty vase, and you keep it in perfect condition for 20 years, and you haven't chipped the vase, you haven't scratched the vase, you could then say it's in pristine condition. It's in the same condition as it was when you first bought it. So some synonyms are perfect, immaculate, unspoiled, flawless, fresh, new, virgin, and pure. So anything you have, and those things, if you keep them in really good condition and they're in as good condition as they were when they started, they are pristine, they are perfect. Our fourth and final word is deference. Deference. That is spelled D-E-F, def, E-R-E-N, Eren, C-E, deference. I spelled that in a really weird way, sorry about that. Deference. It's spelled just like it sounds. It's a noun, and to have deference means to show respectful submission or yielding to someone else. Generally, if you show deference to someone, it's someone who you are being respectful to because they are in some way more experienced than you or more senior to you. Often it might be just an older person. You might show deference to your grandfather based on his wisdom and experience and age. You may show deference to the CEO of your company because of his experience, because of his seniority. It means to show respect, to show dutifulness. In general, it means to acknowledge the position you are in with respect to the seniority or wisdom or experience of someone else, where that someone else is in an elevated position compared to you. So a simple example might just be to stop talking and listen while someone like your granddad or one of your parents is talking to you. That is being respectful, it's yielding to them, not interrupting them while they're talking to you. You are showing deference to them. Likewise at work, if someone more senior to you is talking, you don't want to interrupt them, you want to be respectful. In some way you are showing deference there. Those are our 4 words for today. Now let's do a quick review of them, a quick test. The first word was whimsical. Whimsical. This is almost always used to describe a person, and it means a person who is given to whimsy or fanciful notions, someone who's playful, very imaginative. They are especially amusing in this playful, imaginative way. Fetid, that means an extremely offensive, foul, nasty odor. Pristine, that means in its original condition, perfect or unspoiled. Deference, that means showing respect to someone or yielding to them. Now, let's do our test sentences. I will read a sentence which hints at one of the words from today, and you just have to work out which word I'm referring to. I let my boss take credit for the big new contract we secured as a last big triumph before his retirement party. As a child, Nancy was full of imagination and playfulness. One day she would be having a tea party with the fairies who lived at the end of the garden. The next she would be climbing trees to find her trusted friend, Mr. Owl. Johnny kept his car perfectly maintained and cleaned it almost every day. It looked immaculate. In the Back to the Future movies, Biff repeatedly gets a load of manure dumped on him, which is unfortunate, because apparently he hates the smell. Those were our words for today: whimsical, fetid, pristine, and deference. I hope you remember all of those words easily. I try to do my best to repeat the words often and add all these little tests and reminders because the repetition really, really helps when learning the words. But of course, that is all nothing unless you take some actions yourself to keep remembering words, which is ideally using them. So play with your friends at work or school, use some of the new words, test your friends. All of this stuff is really good for remembering words. And always write down some example sentences, think up some example sentences, or events from your life, things you can remember that apply to these words. Like a time you smelled something that was fetid, or something you own that you could describe as being pristine. Maybe some item of clothing that you've kept in really good condition, it's almost pristine. Please, if you like the podcast, write a review on the iTunes page or like the Facebook page, just search for VictorPrep. Thank you all very much. I will be back soon with a new episode. Sorry about the delay. As always, things have been a little chaotic in my life recently, without getting into too many details, but things are a little settled now, so expect more podcasts soon. Thank you so much. And please send me an email at sam.fold@gmail.com. As always, thank you all very much for listening. Have an amazing rest of your day, wherever you are, and an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.